Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Have you ever wondered what it's like to really invest in team building and what the benefits are from doing so? Well, if you have, or if you haven't, tune in because you'll learn some things in today's episode that will help augment the team and the camaraderie. But before we jump into that, please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. And a big shout out and thank you to nickmenard.com and the 1% Push, as well as Mindset is My Degree by Nick Menard, Amazon bestseller. Thank you, Nick Menard.
Thank you. Hello, winners.
Hello. So, when we were talking about, hey, maybe we'd talk something about team building, so many different ways we can go about it. So for today's episode, why don't you cover like a high level overview of what we're going to dive in today about team building?
Absolutely. So we hear team building all the time, but there are ways to do team building in order to really improve the synergy within your teams. And there's no wrong or right answer. It's just we're going to share our own experience about how team building can improve situations, and at the end of the day can improve everybody performance as well, because knowing people are also very important instead of just knowing numbers.
Yeah, 100%. And, it affects a lot of things, and I'm sure we'll dive into this a little further. But one of the things that affects is when you think about when you're running any size business, whether you're an entrepreneur and you're just hiring your first few employees, or your massive organization where you have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of employees, attrition is costly. You spend a lot to try to attract the right talent. If you're putting in benefits programs, that's an additional cost. And if you don't create the right kind of environment and team building aspect and getting to know people, you're going to lose people more often than you should. And that actually adds more cost to the business and inhibits profitability.
100% in agreement.
All right. Shall we start with
Let's
quotes and quips? Boom, 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 boom. All right. First one is a quote. I don't know. I'm getting anonymous now.
It's you probably.
Yeah. Still waiting for those royalties. They haven't come in yet. I didn't get my 3-cent check. I don't know why. First one is: people work harder for teammates they feel connected to. Relationships are your team's real performance enhancers. Thoughts on that quote?
Yeah, that's totally true. I take the example of sport. So when you are doing a team sport, the best performance are not coming only with talent. They are coming from teams that have a real connectivity. And I think that's the case for business as well. It's usually the case, a correlation, sport and business on that level. So yes, you will go to war, you will fight, you will help, you will motivate people a lot more if you know who they are. So knowing the people you work with, and again, doesn't mean you need to be best friend with them. But when you understand a little better, like why they are the way they are, what are they, what are they really working towards? When you know all of that, the chains that the team are going to bond and actually help each other without having really to ask, is going to make your life as a leader a lot better, and it's going to have a better synergy in general, which will elevate the culture. And we all know that culture is key in any organization.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting. In team sports, there's always a focus on chemistry, right? Does the team have the right chemistry? And they use the word chemistry a lot. In corporate America, they say culture, but it's really the same thing. And if you have people who know their role, are committed to, knowing how important their role is and what it contributes to the organization and inspires to the greater good, and they enjoy the people they work with, that's great culture. That's great chemistry. I've been on teams, I'm sure you have, where they weren't as talented, but the chemistry was so strong. We played above our talent level and enjoyed more success. And I've also been on the inverse, where I was on a team that was highly talented, but it didn't have chemistry. There was a lot of infighting and bickering and jealousy and stuff, and it underperformed, even though it had more talent. So I'm sure you had the same experience.
Yeah, just to put names into this, if you like basketball, this year Phoenix Suns
Yeah, great
I mean,
example.
I
Yeah.
mean, Durant, Bill, and Booker, three fantastic forward players. They are not gonna make the play in. They're gonna finish last four of the conference. Why? Because there is zero chemistry in this team. There is no passion. There is no fighting for each other. Nothing like that. And a team last year, I don't like them, but Boston Celtics were not only great individualities, but they like and love each other. You can
Hmm.
see that they are, when one is down, the 4-1 fight 10 times harder and then just support each other. When you have that and you have talent, you're unbeatable.
Hmm.
And so again, in business, it's the same. You know, it's people don't like to use unbeatable, like winning when you have like a team compared to other team, but it's a healthy competition you need to have if you are in a corporation. I believe in the healthy competition.
Hmm.
And a healthy competition, when you have the top performer in different teams, usually what scale them oppositely, it's gonna be the chemistry or the
Hmm.
culture that's gonna make the difference when people are actually like motivated. Come on, come on. When you join a top performer team, that's what I always said. It's a lot easier because they need to adapt to you. You don't need to adapt to them, but you pull them up. And people who join a team like that, they don't want to drop drop them,
Hmm.
so they want to actually work even better, harder. That's why if you create a great culture, if you have an organization when everybody try to have each other's back, that's where you win, because even when you have turnover and things move on because people move up, you will not drop a ball. And I think that's a difference. Last thing, same with leaders. When you are a leader, if you are leaving for 3 months and the performance of the team do not drop, that's when you create a solid foundation and a team who are going to strive for you when you are not there as well. If
Hmm.
you are a leader that needs to be there 24/7, or actually 5 days a week in order to be successful, and then you leave on vacation 2 weeks, everything crumble, you're not a leader, you're a manager, because it means that your importance, the importance of yourself in the team, it's so important that they need you in order to perform. And that's not someone who inspired, that's someone who is looking at a book and follow the guideline.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll just add one little thing. When history is a great teacher, right? And when you look at history and you look at various empires and countries that really expanded, some were able to do it by hiring mercenaries, but the mercenaries are only as good as the money lasts. And as soon as the money goes out, they're not interested. And they're probably not really necessarily looking out for the other mercenaries. They're just trying to make sure they're not getting killed. Versus missionaries, when you have someone
Mm,
who's driven by a mission and you have a team that has a culture and they feel their leader, they believe in the vision of the leader and they believe that the leader cares, that you get more lasting impact on that.
great
And you
example.
don't have to rely on the mercenary.
Amazing.
All right, let's go to quippity quip, quip, quip. I love our quips. All right, this one's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
The quip is, you can't build a dream team if you don't know who's dreaming with you. Thoughts on that one?
Wow. So what comes to mind here, okay, it's sport as well, but let's try to stay into business. We all familiar with something called like mission of discovery. So when you are a leader, or a first time manager, usually the first thing you learn is you need to get to know your associates. And when you need to get to know your associates, it's on a more personal level. Usually, you don't ask too personal question because it's always like HR around, but you need to be able to understand what drives them,
Mhm.
why they are the position they are in and what their goal in life. So you can adapt a little bit your coaching as you go. So it's called mission of discovery. So this quote makes me believe, or makes me think about the fact that you need to have a mission of discovery on a team level as well.
Mhm.
Discover what your team needs from you in order to put the piece together, and what would work the best for this team to be successful with a complement of individuals instead of doing like one by one. So have the mission discovery one individually, so you understand everybody individually, but also have that mission of discovery. It takes longer for the team level because you need to know, who is fitting with who and why and how, what's needed into this. I had recently like a situation in a team where there was some very good individualities, but there is zero synergy. One of the reasons is we are all remote work now. So remote work is a little bit harder because you're not in the middle of the row 24. I mean,
just having
8
ad hoc
hours
conversations.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's harder. So they were not connecting. So what we work on with this team was literally like try to get time every week, an hour, to just get to know them, to have like a conversation or have a lunch and learn, but lunch and learn not for business, learn of each other. And then, you just share whatever you want to share. Little tip: if you want to know more about your associates, share more about yourself. The more you share, if you share something, they will probably share the same amount back. So this is good to understand. And then you start as a leader, you said, hey, I want to start with, sharing a little bit more about myself. And then we can go around the table or virtually table in order to be able to understand. And this thing changed everything because then, oh my God, you like that? Oh, I also like horse. There was one person who had 2-3 hour horses. And then another one, like it was in Utah. Oh my God, me too. Like I didn't know you had like what kind of, or they connected. And it was perfect because we tried to connect those two together, like for some work, because some quality of one has the issue of the other one and the challenge of the other one and vice versa. So those two, we try to connect them together more, but they had not affinity. Well, no, they're always talking because they have like something. So you try to find something in common, which is the basic of any kind of relationship. But without those hours, those 1 hour like lunch and learn, they would never have learned that from for each other. So that's what we found, a way to connect them and then to find ways to be able to have some kind of report.
Yeah, 100%. And when you're sharing that, what came into my head was Al Pacino's Inches speech.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, look to the person next to you, look into their eyes. They're going to go to battle with you because they care, and that's what it's about. Like if you can create that kind of synergy, that sense of community, in general, people will do a little bit more. They'll go the extra mile to help somebody out. They'll go the extra mile to make sure the team is seen in a good light, that the organization is doing well, that their leader is being seen in a good light. They care, and I think it matters. And then, I think the other thing, you were focused on about the interactivity within the team, which is great. But I also think, to your point about mission of discovery as a leader, one of the hardest things you have to assess is skill or will. And it is part of that. A component of that is knowing someone's motivators. So most people are obviously
start with why.
Yeah, start with why. They're working for money, right? But where does that rank? Is that their number one thing? Is that their third thing? Is that their fifth thing? Is there something else that's higher? Do they want to do meaningful work? Do they want to do something that makes an impact? Do they want to gain more power or notoriety? Boy, I can't speak. And everyone has different motivators. Is that they're trying to help a family member? They're trying to send money back to family that lives elsewhere to help them out. Are they trying to buy a home? I mean, there's so many different things. And please don't use the information as a means of manipulation. This is not what we're talking about, but it's about empathy. It's about understanding the other person's point of view, what motivates them. And then you as a leader can help, do that. And like what you even said, you took it to the step where, hey, you found out people had common interests and they built a bond that way and started building bonds of friendship, if you will. That's so important. I'm going to do a bonus one only because this touches on your early career after your basketball career. And I think you'll like it. Trying to lead a team without knowing them is like trying to DJ a party without knowing the vibe. You'll miss every beat.
Oh my God, this is so true. So, like little segue. I was a DJ back in the days in Europe, and this is very, very accurate. So you see a lot of DJ being actually very good, but in the wrong crowd. So they're mixing great. The mixing part, so that the technicality is high level. But the crowd doesn't need to hear that. So as a DJ, it's like in business, it's like in sport. If you are a center and you can dribble like a point guard, but it doesn't bring anything to the team, you just waste your time. Okay. So, but it can be a skill for certain situation. It's the same as DJing.
Right.
You know, like when you DJ like R&B in a crowd who are looking for beats like house music, well, even if you're a great R&B DJ, you're gonna go nowhere with the crowds, and the crowd are gonna leave, and you're gonna fail as a DJ. So always looking at your team. So that I love that quip as well. Look at what your team needs, because maybe you will have like a team who just needs chat, a group chat, and they will be chatting nonstop and they will bond like this. Another one will have the same chat and there is like 2 comments a week. Nobody care about the chat because that's not their style.
Right.
But if you do the communication, the lunch and learn in this aspect, that's what they needed, because that's the connection they need to have in order to get to know each other, because they were more like introvert in that team. So if you have an outgoing team, that's going to be a lot more easy to bring connectivity. But if you have something happening outside work that may like encounter some drama, because if you are more outgoing, you say more and you have more risk to actually get issue within the team. That's another problem you may have. So when people said, oh, I have a team of outgoing people, it's going to be easy. Well, yeah, but it's also a higher risk of getting drama because of the outgoing situation. So you have to take the pros and the cons. The best is to have a mix. Like everything, when you have as a leader, we always said you need to build a team, not all like you, who represent, who are mirror of who you are. That's the easy part.
Yep.
You are outgoing, you are who you are, an amazing leader, and you are, expressive driver. Well, if you have all expressive driver in your team as leader, you will connect easily with them, but that's probably not what the business needs. The business needs some analytics, some amiable people, because so you can mix. It may be more hard for us to be able to interact and coach with them within the team, because that's the opposite of you. So you need to adapt a little bit your coaching, but that's what's needed for the business to grow.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to work with different personality type.
Oh,
so
100%.
or leadership style.
Yeah.
So a mix is always good, but you don't always get a team who is exactly the way that you wish they were. So you need to be able to adapt and figure it out. And that's where the team building part is so important. Team building doesn't mean having beer at 5 p.m.
Not
after
that there's
work.
anything wrong with that.
No, of course not. But not everybody will have the same kind of, openness for that.
Sure.
So try to understand you can never please everybody, but try to understand the dynamic of the team and what would work best for that team to grow.
100%. Love that. And I think, when you think about what you were talking about, one analogy that came to mind is if you're remodeling a room in your house, you may need a hammer, you may need a screwdriver, you may need a saw, you may need plaster, you may need caulk, you may need drywall tape. You need different tools. And it's the same with the team. To your point, you may have a preferred interactive dynamic that you want in the team. Like, I personally like doing memes. I find them fun. I have one of my direct reports who is the queen of memes, and it's lightning quick how quick she puts them out, and it's fantastic. They always make me laugh. And I do it. And when I do it in the chat, at first people are like, what? But I just try to add a little levity, and I like it. But you're right. So there's leaders on my team and leaders with folks within the organization. That's not their vibe, and that's okay. Don't pay attention to it. It's not like I'm keeping track or score or something like that. But you have to be malleable, and that's the art and the science of leadership. You have to be your authentic self, but you also have to be malleable enough to fit the dynamic of what's going to draw out the best in people. So if you're hard charging, rah, yelling at the top of your lungs, and you got somebody who's extremely introverted, they're a little more quiet, and they just want to focus on their work, you're going to drive them batty. So you need to throttle down, and vice versa. Like, it was a different way around. And I think that's an important art and science of finding a way where you can be your authentic self, but just shift it a little bit. And sometimes I've used the example for people, and this actually draws a little bit away from authenticity, but it's it's more for influential communication. I'm like, think of yourself as an actor. You're playing a role. So if I have a
Mm-hmm.
very amiable leader and they're really struggling about having a direct conversation with somebody, stop tying your identity to that conversation. Think of channel somebody who you respect, who's a courageous person who would say what they want, whether that's a book you've read, whether that's a movie you've seen or something like that, and envision yourself as that person and have the conversation until you can build enough confidence and courage to just do it from an authentic place. Like it's the old adage, like fake it till you make it type of thing, but it's a little nuance on that. Because at the end of the day, if you're that amiable and you're not, we talked about this a number of times in our episode, but you're not telling people what they need to hear, you're just telling them what they want to hear. You're not doing them any favors. You think you're being friendly, but you're actually setting them up to probably not be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? Then you're going to feel even worse. So
I
find
agree.
your muse.
Yeah, and if you struggle, if you are a new leader or even a leader with more analytic and amiable, and you have a team of outgoing people, and you don't know, oh my God, what should I be doing? You know, sometimes you need to do something that you don't feel comfortable with as a leader because it needs to fit your team, not yourself.
Mhm.
So what I like to do sometimes when because I tend to like a certain, I like to go out, have a lunch or dinner and just have some drinks. But again, I'm not very I don't have a lot of idea outside of that. I'm not very creative when it comes to that. Like going like cook yourself kind of
Oh,
class and
yeah.
all that. But if you're
Some people are super creative.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So ask. And again, you don't need to be as a leader. You not be the one who come up with all the ideas. I have no problem to admit. I go to my team and I'm like, team meeting. I'm like, okay, guys, let's do something this quarter. All right.
Something
So
fun. Yeah.
what would you like to do? You just ask. Like, hey, don't need to give me an answer now. I will open up a chat or do something like throw ideas in, and whatever is the main idea is gonna be, we're gonna do that. So it allows the team to actually figure it out. If you have a team who are all over the place because they're all virtual, well, let's do something together that's going to be online because we cannot fly everybody for
Yeah.
for happy hour or for a team building, but figure something out based on what would please them to actually do.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be very, very important. And you don't need to be the person who come up with idea all the time. And usually they will tell you, oh, we would love to do that this time. And then if you don't like it, you smile and say, okay, great idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what they want in order to be happy. And that's the time, that's their time to connect,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, don't think about yourself on that level, and just do something that the team would appreciate, and then they will appreciate the fact that you are listening and that you're actually doing something, who is more triggered for them, target
Yeah.
for them.
Oh, we just had our, we call it something different, but like operations meeting. And we have a section where each of the senior leaders share what they did for team building last quarter, because we have an expectation of doing at least one team building event every quarter.
Share some idea for winners.
Oh my gosh. They had one was a chocolate cooking. So they had all the ingredients in virtual, and then the stuff looks. By the end of this presentation, I was so hungry. It was like 10:30 in the morning. My stomach's like because they had there were some other cooking ones. So there was the cooking ones. I've seen the painting and wine type thing. They have the game shows that they did. They had the virtual scavenger hunts. There were some other ones. Gosh, it's escaping my mind. But I was like, my goodness, this is cool. And to your point, I would have never thought of something like that, but I'm all in favor of it. So to what you're saying, there's hopefully somebody who has an interest or looking to do it. So like you were saying, like finding somebody, there's usually hopefully somebody who has some interest or they can ask somebody, but there are some creative things. And I know this is a movie that you like, The Shining. You remember when he's typing on the typewriter and he's typing all those pages and it says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Work hard, play. That's how we roll. Like again, to your earlier point, you got to know your team. But even if they don't explicitly share, hey, it'd be nice to do a fun activity or something that's not necessarily directly task related in terms of their work, they enjoy it.
Hmm.
And it's more about the spirit of coming together and letting them know, hey, we are trying to build a community. You think about the amount of time you spend at work with others. It'd be nice if you actually had some activities that weren't directly work related that added a little levity or a little
Hmm.
fun or build
Absolutely.
camaraderie. And it goes back to what you were saying in the very beginning. Teams that have a strong sense of community and bonds, they're going to perform better. They're going to go the extra mile for themselves, for each other, for the leader, for the company. It's like we talked about 1,000 times, invest in people and you'll get the return tenfold.
I agree. And one more thing, maybe to close the loop for people who are looking at ideas to do something, to bring the team together and to understand based on the quote and quips, better who your peers are. Something, and that's an idea came from someone I worked with for 7 years. Nicolette, kudos to you. So she came up with an idea a few years back to have every January like a meeting with all the team where everybody needs to create a one pager dream board.
Ah,
And everybody have 5 or 7 minutes forgot like time to present it. No question asked, just 5 7 minutes. After that, Q&A for 2 3 minutes, and then we move to the next person. The goal is all about understanding, and that would alleviate a lot of unknown with the team I mentioned earlier that they didn't really connect until we did the lunch and learn.
mm-hmm.
Because you learn about, okay, what's your dream board or what's your goal this year, and then they said, okay, I want to lose weight, or I want to invest, or I want to buy a house, I want to pay off my student loan or whatever it is. But you see a little bit the direction they're going. I want to do 2 vacation this year, there, like, so it helps. And then she scheduled the same in July, first week of July, so people can do at half of the year. Are you on your way to achieve? If yes, what? If not, what are you focusing in the second time of the year? And so we can celebrate during summertime accomplishment for everybody, because everybody are getting closer or getting to one
Mm-hmm.
of those. Maybe not all of all, because it's aspirational.
Sure.
But at least you can celebrate wins that way and understand the thing. And then every year we do that. We did that, and every year you see the progress. Oh, the guy was like looking to buy a house. Now he had a house. Now he's looking to buy a second car. Oh, he has a baby. He's looking for. So
Yeah,
you
that's
see the
cool.
evolution during the year of people. So sometimes we look back, like the dream board of 3 4 years ago, and I'm like, oh my god, I achieved all of it and more. And
Mhm.
that's the beauty of it, and that's a good way to get to know, learn, and continue to see how people develop. So
I
that
love
may
that.
be another idea for someone who doesn't really know what to do. Just a simple for one pager. People put like 5 images or something, and they explain what it means.
Yeah, I love the vision board concept, and that's a great idea. We do something similar but slightly different. So in the same ops meeting, because we're global, we have
Mhm.
global leaders and everything. We have a get to know your leader. So each leader creates a one-page PowerPoint
Mhm.
about things about themselves, and then we compile it, we send it out to everybody, and then when we get together for the ops meeting, we have a game. And we're like, okay, who is this about? And you guess, and you see who gets how many correct answers and stuff. But it's a way to get to know people and see the similar to the dream board and things like that. But it's also showcases their hobbies or what are things they like. Like they don't like ketchup, or they're fearful of ketchup because of the texture, or they like to travel. Yeah, that one floored me, but she's hilarious. She's awesome. But so yeah, I love that, and it doesn't cost anything.
No.
So if you have a budget constraint, that's not an excuse. There's
Mhm.
creative things you can do to build awareness and knowledge of each other as people, or different activities that don't cost money but helps build the team. And again, missionary over mercenary. Create a community within the team. You will find things will progress far better for far longer than if you're just focusing on squeezing the last ounce of toothpaste out of the tube with people until they're burnt out, or you've squeezed everything till they're like, forget this, I'm out of here and quit. And you got a revolving door, and attrition is very costly for an organization when it's regretted attrition. When you're losing talent you'd rather keep, so stop treating people like a turnip and start investing in them, get them to know as people, and build a community, regretted attrition will drop, performance will improve.
Love it. That's drop the mic.
There we go. Ba-ding. All right. So any other last words? Do you want to wrap?
No, I think we covered a lot, and I hope that it's helping some people who may not know, may struggle with it, to maybe have some ideas.
I agree. Hopefully so. So that'll do it for today, winners. Thanks again for listening to Two for the Win, and please be sure to follow us on your favorite platform. And thanks again to nickmenard.com and the 1% Push for sponsoring today's episode. We will see you next Mindset Monday. Be well, all.
Bye, winners.
Bye.